In a joint press conference of the departmental government and Coralina, a report was delivered on the evidence of tissue loss in the coral population in the marine environment of the archipelago.
The departmental administration, together with Environmental Corporation Coralina and the support of the international expert biologist Valeria Pizarro, PhD, from Perry Institute for Marine Science in Bahamas, presided over an urgent meeting with the press to announce some of the preliminary results and the route to follow in the presence of the new disease of coral tissue loss in the archipelago.
And if we do not control this disease, there is a great risk that we will lose this great reef barrier, which is the third largest in the world, and we have to act. That is precisely why we want to issue an alert. The ministry has already issued an alert, and thank God it is being echoed at the national level.
International expert biologist Valeria Pizarro explained the scope of the disease.
Unfortunately, this disease that is called coral tissue loss disease is a disease that affects not only many corals but affects more than half of the corals that we have built in coral reef in the Caribbean. The seriousness of this is such as no other disease has ever affected so many species, and also the rate of damage is very fast.
The biologist emphasized that the disease affects reefs in more than 20 countries and that at the present there are few effective options to stop it.
We have the disease, we need help, and we need to start looking for resources with the support of the governor's office, with the support of the Ministry of Environment, to create an action plan to really stop the disease. The options that are currently available are few. There are researches everywhere because this is not unique to Colombia.
For his part, the departmental administration will follow up on this situation and the actions taken to counteract the effects of the disease of the loss of coral tissue where its presence has been detected in the archipelago department. Finally, it was emphasized that so far only one treatment has been worked worldwide in the application of antibiotics to the corals mixed with a base to help restore them, for which training was initiated for personnel on the island to try to save as many corals as possible.
She's already working with Coralina experts, and if there are volunteers, she's willing to teach them as well.
As one of the main advances in the short term, the director of Coralina emphasized that the Ministry of Environment has already issued an alert through a circular urging the competent authorities that have jurisdiction over the maritime area to take action on this matter.
In a forum called Culture and Heritage held this afternoon at the National University, negotiations were initiated with the Ministry of Culture and National Heritage, which are the institutions that will actively participate as a requirement for the Declaration of Heritage. Amongst the attendees were the House of Representative Elizabeth J. Pan and the Director of National Patrimony, Marcela Cuellar.
With the purpose of advancing actions and negotiation leading to the declaration of the First Baptist Church as a national heritage and in turn guarantee resources for its maintenance, structural support, and conservation in accordance with the typical architecture of the type of building typical of the Caribbean, the Culture and Heritage Forum was organized by the House Representative Elizabeth J. Pan.
What we are looking for is to see the reality of this declaration, because 20 years ago it was declared a heritage, but no one had given the benefits that this implies, and that is what we are looking for. Today we want to highlight what the First Baptist Church of the Hill means to us, because when you arrive in San Andres, the first thing you want to see is something that identifies it, and it is an emblem that identifies the islands. That is why we are looking for other institutions, emblems like the typical houses, the catwalk, the freight tables, and all the cultural traditions of San Andres have a project to continue preserving.
For her part, the Director of Cultural Heritage and National Memory, Marcela Cuellar, offered her consideration and spoke a little about the agenda program during her...
El Ministerio de las Culturas quiere poner...
The Ministry of Culture wants to put knowledge into a social function and generate through a better relationship with nature and the universe. Tomorrow we are going to have an open forum with people who want to know what we do in the Ministry of Culture, Art and Knowledge, what we do in the direction of heritage, and how they can access the open calls for proposals. And on Saturday we will go to Providence to visit the place and get to know what we have there. to get to know managers and traditions, barriers, and to be able to continue advancing with the articulation of the territories.
The forum was moderated by historians and experts on the influence and incidences that the First Baptist Church has had on the cultural development of the racial ethnic community.
In other news, the dollar continues to rise and the foreign currency reached a new historic high during the day on Thursday. Experts say that the increases will come at the time of acquiring imported products.
Today, Thursday, the price of the dollar reached 4,900 pesos, a new historical price in the country after several days of increase. The increase of the foreign currency benefits exporters and harms importers, resulting in a generalized increase in the price of food from abroad, causing an increase in the cost of living that is already high in the country, as explained by the economist Joanny James on the impact of the dollar increase in the archipelago.
El efecto es más fuerte en San Andrés porque por dos razones.
The effect is stronger in San Andres for two reasons, because about 90% of the food that we consume on the island is brought from the interior of the country, Central America and the United States. These countries of Central America and the United States sell us these products in dollars. Therefore, products such as dairy products that come from Central America or sausages that come from the United States must be sold more expensive. In addition, foodstuffs coming from the interior also increase in price, even though Colombia is not dollarized, because the port of the island is dollarized. The fact that the use of the port is charged in dollars means that transportation costs have increased.
With this rising currency, imports of vehicles and clothing will also be affected as the exchange rate increases and prices are less competitive compared to domestic industry. But the other side of the coin is that with the rising foreign currency, international tourism is encouraged, benefiting regions that live off tourism.
El 20% del turismo que recibimos en San
20% of the tourism we receive in San Andres is from foreigners. The increase in the price of the dollar stimulates international tourism because it becomes cheaper for those who earn dollars. It is much cheaper for them to come to the island.
James points out that in addition to the international phenomena that have driven the strengthening of the dollar, the political environment in Colombia could also be influencing the currency's rise due to the government's statements on oil and its internal economic regulations.
And Congresswoman Elizabeth J. Pan made a call to help the national government, indicating that the archipelago and its community can no longer bear the high cost of family basket, and argued that the report should be de-dollarized, taking into account the recent rise in the dollar.
Indicating that the neediest community of the islands do not earn the necessary resources to cover the high cost of the family basket, the House Representative Elizabeth J. Pan called on the national government to show solidarity with the situation experienced in the archipelago department. In this regard, she indicated that she is working on two bills with the objective of lowering the cost of food and de-dollarizing the port of the islands.
Estamos adelantando un proyecto de ley.
We are working on a bill that are going to be presented and agree with the Minister of Transportation to de-dollarize everything that has to do with the port movement, which is one of the factors that raises the cost of living in the archipelago of San Andres. That is why we are meeting with the Minister of Transportation to create strategies. We are analyzing how we can improve this, because it's what we are requesting from the national government.
In the same line of work, the Congresswoman asked the Minister of Labor to hold a technical roundtable to work on a bill aimed at requesting a differential salary for the archipelago, taking into account the high cost of living in the islands. She also asked the Minister of Agriculture to promote the islands in agricultural matters.
Otro proyecto de ley que tengo y es el salario diferencial.
Another bill I have to request is a differential salary for this distant department of the country where the family basket is more expensive than in any region of Colombia, Caribbean, or the interior of the country. But we also seek to promote through the Minister of Agriculture to continue promoting the agricultural sector in the department, seeing the results of the last few months of agricultural activities that guarantee food sustainability for the island.
The representative made a request request to the national government to seek a closer relationship with Central America countries and stated that in this regard she had conversations with Foreign Minister Cohen seeking that Nicaragua could supply basic necessities at lower cost, taking into account that it is closer to the islands. She also indicated that the tax reform is being analyzed so that it does not affect the Archipelago Department.
In other news, the regionalized distribution of the budget for next year, 2023, has already been announced. The figures for the department do not please the parliamentarian Jorge Mendez because, according to him, they did not have the resources to improve the aqueduct, nor the lack of resources for the rain sewerage works. The representative expressed his rejection during the debate on the general budget of the nation in 2023.
I have to join the voices of rejection to the way in which the nation's resources have been distributed or prioritized for the different regions. I am very concerned that the next year we will not really have a change in the quality of life of the islanders.
San Andres is among the departments with a budget increase, a 30.3% increase in the budget for next year. In 2022 for San Andres, 322,000 million pesos were allocated. For 2023, it will be 420,000 million pesos. In his speech, Congressman Jorge Mendez stated that no resources were available to improve the aqueduct and rain sewage system.
San Andrés, como ustedes bien lo saben,
San Andres, as you well know, almost half of its population has no aqueduct, and those who have water do not receive it every 15 days. And every day you will find a blockade on the roads because people are thirsty. We have been victims of 3 hurricanes in the last 2 years.
The representative also announced that despite President Petro's announcement, the National Unit for Risk Disaster Management will not assume the repair of the houses affected by Julia.
y hace 8 días tuvimos el huracán Julia.
More than 8 days ago, we had the passage of Hurricane Julia that left more than 700 homes affected. President Gustavo Petro. I communicated with him while he was on the island the next day and said that they were going to make the contracts for the repair of homes, and surprised I was when I communicated with the director of the risk management unit, and he told me that they do not have any single peso for the repair of the homes of the islanders.
Mendez pointed out during his speech that the greatest concern on the island is the flooding that is occurring in some sectors of the island. The representative is emphatic in requesting that the government prioritize the needs of the islanders and that the resources required for the intervention of the pluvial sewage system in District 4 of San Andres be invested.
And if you need to receive your booster dose against COVID or be vaccinated against HPV or measles and rubella, the Secretariat of Health will conduct an intensive vaccination campaign.
In order to improve the vaccination coverage in the Archipelago Department, the Health Secretariat will develop in the coming days an intensified vaccination campaign for the entire community.
We are making intensification and looking for children, for people that don't have the vaccination schedule complete. The idea is that you verify and have at hand the card so that the children, the girls, the vaccinators, they can review the card and see what the child is shot at. We are applying all the vaccines according to the age of the child. The child that is under 6 years, from 0 to 5 years, review their card and we apply whatsoever they shot at to complete the schedule according to the age. Children from 2 till 11 years with measles and rubella, this vaccine that is additional that we are applying, for all those children from 2 to 11 years, that don't include the normal vaccine for the schedule, that is additional. So if they even have the schedule complete, they need to receive this additional dose if they don't receive it as yet. And also vaccine against COVID and all the rest of vaccines that the children they need according to the schedule. So we are inviting the people to go by the different entities that apply, hospital, Centro Médico Insular, the police, the army also will have the points open.
The Secretariat of Health called on the island community to participate in this campaign to reduce the gap in access to the vaccination programs.
And now it's time for Sport News with Victor Fusalva.
Hello, here are the best sports of the island, and this time the Loma Roos baseball players who participated in an international tournament in Panama received a very warm and well-deserved welcome. An outstanding performance by island baseball players who represented the island archipelago in the international tournament in Panama. The Islanders came in second place in the categories of pre-children and children of the International Baseball Tournament Copa MVP Dragons. This was the welcome at the airport by parents and fans.
I come receive my little boy that come from play a tournament with Panama. He represent San Andres Paradise and Catalina. And well, we anxious with a very all parents they right here so mad because then come subcampeones, something where they know every time so like in we got 8 years experiment, then go in Panama and then beat practically nearly all the game. So we're right here so they wait for receive them with plenty pressures. They're very important. Why? Because then they with different people, with different childs, where they don't know one another, then they forfeit their parents, but we then try to figure out with them. Then even they know that with them parents, them know what they're going to do, they're going to play, and we as parents we uphold them and we talk to them plenty. Shoot phone, shoot video yamada, all we try for all time keep them up because you know as pitnini the all time is them home, but it's very important for them.
And at the departmental government, this is how they were welcomed by Acting Governor Charles Livingston and Sports Secretary Kayan Howard. Words from Sambo Harrigan.
It is so important to come and find all them parents out there so they wait for them pitnini them, you know. We're going to represent the island outside. All the parents them still company pitnini them. They need to know in the sport them because they got more confident with you and well with the trainer. So help the trainer them. The trainer they have to do their work same way, but that know that the first one have to be that trainer home, you know. And you, Papa and Mama, with the home there, on the company pitting in a sport, San Andres Providence and Catalina need plenty sport like them pitting we're coming out here.
And in basketball, a very important victory for Caribbean Storm, who closed the series against Bucaros of Bucaramanga and is opening tonight against Corsarios of Cartagena. The Islanders closed their last game against Bucaramanga Bucaros, winning 88-82 with an outstanding performance of North American Greg Foster, who scored 19 points, 7 assists and 4 rebounds in 36 minutes played. The Caribbean continue in the second place in the standings with 7 wins and 3 losses. Today began the other series at home against Corsarios of Cartagena, team where our Islander player Emil Williams is playing.
Yes, I do. Our coach actually stresses a lot of times like we got to rebound. And one of the things that I think as a team that we have to do collectively is rebound. We got to box out. I think we've gotten better at it. I think sometimes it doesn't show that we've gotten better at it, but I think we just have to keep working towards, as a collective unit, as a team, to continue to help our big guys out and continue to help each other out and just keep trying to rebound.
The team is ready to face the new series against Corsarios of Cartagena, according to Coach Garcia. And this will be all for tonight, but we will see you on another broadcast. We continue with Lisa.
Thank you, Victor. With Sport News, we reach to the end of our broadcast. See you tomorrow at 1 p.m. with more Teleislas news. Good night.